Levarme la moustache en la capucha. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki tacatiki. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Siento patanilo, mira tacatiki puletica. Sani levarme la moustache en la capucha.
What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today's topic is Jonathan Allen signs a 4-year, $72 million deal that averages out to $18 million a year. I don't think that'll be his actual cap hit, but he has $30 million guaranteed. So Ron Rivera now has shown us that defense is king. I don't have a major issue with this. I will have an issue if it jeopardizes us in some way, shape, or form of being able to keep some of our core players that are special. We're going to have to talk about this. Now, with Jonathan Allen signing, what does this does for other guys who can potentially sign with us as well? We're talking about guys like, at this point now, does this now spell the end of Tim Settle's time in Washington? I mean, we're not going to sign him for measly dollars, especially if he has a breakout year. So we're going to have to really assess how this goes, because to me, it worries me a little bit, because it almost seems like he's building the Carolina Panthers again. And not any Carolina Panthers team, that team from the Super Bowl team that got decimated by Denver in the Super Bowl, where he had bookends that were traveling bookends, and he didn't invest that much on the offensive side like he should have. So again, I'm going with it. I'm not mad about the signing. It's just that this was one of the things that I talked about in my last video. Will this jeopardize us long term being able to keep a Montez Sweat and a Chase Young together for the next 10 years? Now, again, we won't really know just yet. They have signed Jonathan Allen, so clearly he's somebody that Ron feels needs to be around. Again, like I said, I think that as time goes on, Chase will eventually become the leader of the locker room, but we'll just have to see. But to me, this does spell the end of a Tim Settle. This really does spell the end for him, because again, it's not like Tim Settle isn't a guy who can be a quality starter. This also worries me a little bit, because what if everyone starts to have a breakout season? Where do we go from there? Because we're talking about next year, there's a lot of guys that are going to be free agents, and that also includes the quarterback that everybody loves so far right now in Ryan Fitzpatrick. What if Ryan Fitzpatrick balls out? What do we do at that point? What if Ryan Fitzpatrick, for the first time in his career, doesn't do Ryan Fitzpatrick stuff? Then you're talking about, now we have a quarterback issue on our hands. What about somebody like Logan Thomas? Even though he's older, he's still done a lot of stuff. Do you just let a guy like him walk out the door? You got to think about stuff like that. Both of our current tackles after the season will be free agents. Both of them, right side and left side, both will be free agents come next year. Again, this finally does, in my opinion, this does spell the end for Brandon Sheriff. And if it doesn't, and we give him a multi-year deal, and he's making around 15 million, now all of a sudden you really have to put into play who's next out the door. Again, like I said, I understand the move. You know, Ron Rivera has always been a defense guy. In his book, Defense is King. And I can't be mad at him about that, because the defense did a very good job last year. And it's going to be a team that, a defense that, in my opinion, will be a top 3 defense, hands down. No doubt about that. What happens to us long term is my only question. But at this current time, we're just going to focus on it right now, because I know a lot of you, even on my last video, y'all were like, you know, why are we concerned about that right now? You know, we should be. Because again, like I said, we can mess around and everybody balls. And understand this. We're not sure what type of money we're going to have. And not only that, I don't feel that we have a quarterback that's as influential as a Tom Brady to convince everybody to, let's run this again. You know, I mean, even with that, they were okay with running it again because of the fact that they won the Super Bowl. You know, so that type of Tom Brady influence, winning the Super Bowl, being the champion, let's run that back again. I don't know if Ron Fitzpatrick has that type of clout to be able to convince people to, let's run it back again. Even with Taylor Heinicke, I don't think he has that type of clout to be like, let's run this back again. But again, this is a good signing. I'm not going to sit here and crap on it or anything like that. It's the direction that Ron wanted to go. He feels that defense is king. And even with that, you know, I'm concerned about the offensive side, because again, I do feel that we are better skilled as a skilled team, but you can't always rely on trying to supplement things. You know, hopefully all this works out. Even when it comes to next year, hopefully all this works out. Jonathan Allen is a very good player. There's no doubt about that. But even with that being said, I did a video. I said I wouldn't mind the rotation, and we have our ends for the rest of for the next 10 years at 50 million on the books for us. You know, even if it was 60 on the books for us, that's still very good. But we'll have to see, because understand this, there may be teams out there that might outbid us for guys. We might have to sit up there and eat crow. Another thing, we can't tag everybody. You know, it could be a situation where sometimes you gotta understand, some guys, they only want to go play at home. They want to go home and play in front of their family and their friends and things like that. That could happen. Jonathan Allen is from this area, so I understand him wanting to be here. I will say that I do appreciate the fact of drafting guys who want to be here. But again, I'm thinking long term. You know, Chase is an area guy. I'm pretty sure he wants to be here. Montez Sweat, he's not from the area, but he's a guy that I would like to be here. We got to see what happens to this defensive line as we go along, because there may be a decision that has to be made where it's like, we paid Jonathan all this money, so instead of Daron Payne, we are going to go with Matt Ioannidis. Matt is a little older than the both of them, so we'll definitely see. Like I said, you know, Jonathan Allen, it's a good signing. Not really angry about it. Like I said, my focus was more on future endeavors as we go down this path of defense. Again, they talk about, you know, defense wins championships, but and we have seen that defenses have won championships. But we've also seen that a solid offense can get you a very long way. And with that, I feel we're going to have a solid season, but This was one that I was quite surprised at, especially at the number. I was really surprised at the number, but I get it. You know, the guy, he's a stalwart. He's solid. He's a player. We're going to have to examine, are we going down the San Francisco route, where eventually we have two stout defensive tackles, and we're just going to have to mess around and end up giving one away because we can't afford both of them. But we'll definitely see. We'll keep it going. This is going to work out for us. Like I said, I do feel we're going to have a solid season. I really do. But Jonathan Allen signs a 4-year, $72 million deal that averages out to $18 million a year. I don't think that that's going to be his cap hit. But with that being said, we now see that this does spell the end of Tim Settle in Washington, because I don't see us being able to sign him and coming up the following year being able to sign Daron Payne and possibly Matt Ioannidis. So again, we'll definitely see how this goes. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.